Good morning to
Morning,
you.
guys. Hey, guys. How are we?
My Twitter feed has been clogged up incessantly since at some point last night you decided to go public about this, Tommy. The lobbying has not. I can only imagine how much lobbying goes on for the real All-Star selectors.
I needed a bit of help, Jer. I'll be honest. I struggled to sleep last night over my half-forward line. Yeah, Owen. Look, I can understand a little bit. I can kind of see the abuse that Owen gets, the warranted abuse that he gets over the power rankings. And sometimes I question why he puts himself through it. Sometimes I think he enjoys it.
I listened
that likes it.
On the way in this morning. I listened to the power rankings. I was obviously off yesterday, and I just want to say fair play to Shane Hannon for sticking up for his Longford brethren. I really thought, this is left field. This is a commitment to the so-called weaker counties that literally nobody else on the planet has ever had, certainly on this show. And I just want to say, hats off, Shane. You did great work.
I haven't been more blindsided by a person since the reporter in Nashville when Shane came up with Longford yesterday, to be quite honest with you. The thing with this All-Star section is going to be very interesting. We all know that everybody tends to hate Kerry football fans. We all hate Dublin fans. Everybody knows what Mayo fans bring to proceedings. What is interesting about this and this All-Star selection is we finally get to find out what Cavan fans and what Tipperary football fans are made of. Are they going to be as insufferable as Kerry football fans? Time will tell. Now is your chance. Come into the limelight. Give Tommy Rooney all the abuse in the world.
Give us your team, Tommy.
I'm starting to regret some of my decisions already. Okay, well, I'll go with my goalkeeper. And there's no debating this. Doesn't matter what happens in the All-Ireland semi-final. Raymond Galligan is the goalkeeper from Cavan. It's a really easy decision. If you can remember the Monaghan game, he made 4 or 5 brilliant saves in that game. Monaghan should have been way ahead at half-time. Made some saves in the down game, and then obviously kicked the winner against Monaghan. Some great saves against Donegal that were probably overlooked. Probably 8 or 9 big saves over the championship so far. He's captain his county. So Raymond Galligan's in goal. I can't see Comerford from Tip or Cluxton or Clark overtaking him there. I think that's a banker. My fullback is also a banker, and it's Pádraig Faulkner from Cavan. He was off the ball last night. This man is the best fullback in the country, lads. I'm not sure if you've caught that yet, but he really is.
Well, you keep telling us, so...
No, he is. He's the best fullback in the county, in the country. And he's number 3 at fullback. I struggle with my cornerbacks, I'll be honest with you. And there may be a bit of debate to be had there, but Oisin Mullen from Mayo was in there. I think he's been really, really impressive. And I've gone for Jimmy Feehan at Tipperary. The reason I went for Jimmy Feehan is that a tip man tweeted me last night that none of Jimmy Feehan's direct opponents have come out in the second half of their games. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I'd well believe it looking at the way Feehan plays.
Sorry, what? You don't know whether or not that's true. Some randomer, his brother maybe, his ma gets in touch with you on Twitter.
2 of them definitely didn't come back out at half time. I know that for sure. So Jimmy Feehan has kind of transformed himself from being a flying wing back into a real hardy fullback. And this might be the reason why, but I needed to get another tip man into my team. I think they deserved more than the one All-Star that I've given them so far. And, you can give me all the slagging you want, but I tipped Tipperary to beat Cork all last week.
And you're only giving them 2 All-Stars.
I'm only giving Tipperary 2 All-Stars. Oh. And look, I actually think I'm actually giving them a fairly good chance against Mayo. So, turn over Mayo, and Michael Quinlivan will have an All-Star and Conor Reardon will have an All-Star.
Is this because you haven't seen enough of them?
Pick them yet. No, I've watched Tip. I've watched Tip against Limerick. I watched Tip against Cork, obviously, and I caught the highlights of the Clare game. But I just felt like they were grand against Clare. They were lucky against Limerick. Sweeney saved them. And they were exceptional against Cork. Really, really good. Like, I wanted to pick a man like Liam Casey, but there's too much competition around midfield at the minute. I'd love to pick Conor Reardon after one game. He's a monster. But I think if Reardon has a big semi-final, he could be in the mix for Footballer of the Year. So, and Quinlivan, Michael Quinlivan is one of my favourite footballers in the country, but he was quiet the first 2 days. Like, he set up a goal in the first game. He scored a point in the second game, but he really came alive in the Munster final. So if Quinlivan has a big semi-final and Tip beat Mayo, like, Quinlivan's a guaranteed All-Star as well. But okay, so that's my full back line. Bring it on to the half back line. This was really easy. Paddy Durkin and Owen McLaughlin from Mayo are the 2 wing backs. They've been 2 of the best footballers in the country so far this year. And John Small is my centre back. I think he's one of the most underrated footballers in the country. At the minute, I don't know what the odds are in Small, but I would actually say Small is a good shout for Footballer of the Year. He does unbelievable work for Dublin. and he sets the tone. He brings a level of aggression that is very difficult to replicate if you don't have it in you. And I know he toes the line sometimes, but for me, he's everything that's good about Dublin, and that's kind of the reason they absolutely smashed me the last day. They were just relentless in the tackle. They were relentless in their intensity. So John Small is my number 6. I would love to have picked Peadar Mogan from Donegal. I would absolutely have loved to do it. He was class. He scored obviously the goal of the season. Just give me 1 second. My phone will do on disturb. Sorry, lads. So he scored a goal of the season. Like, I don't care about David Clifford's goal in the club championship this year. Peadar Mogan's goal of the season was unreal when he broke through this year. But I couldn't pick him. My midfielders, Brian Fenton, obviously, heartbeat of that Dublin team, and Thomas Galligan. When I grow up, lads, I want to be Thomas Galligan from Cavan. What a footballer. What a warrior. He is class. He's all blood.
He's footballer of the year.
He's in the mix.
If you picked it now.
Oh, he's absolutely in the mix for footballer of the year. He's an inspirational character to have in your team. And he wasn't even a guaranteed starter on the Cavan team at the start of the year. He was an impact sub in a lot of ways. Speaking of impact subs, we'll come back to him a little later. But Thomas Galligan is my midfielder. I thought about putting him into the half-forward line or the full-forward line and bringing in Matthew Rand from Mayo. Thought about bringing in Liam Casey from Tip, who scored 1-4. It was brilliant the last day. But I let them go because there's a lot of quality up front. I really struggled with my half-forward line. I only sent my team in about 5 minutes ago because I've changed it about 6 times. I've changed one player in my half-forward line, my number 11. So my number 10 is Kieran Kilkenny. I think he's been Dublin's best forward so far this year. I know he's playing a little further inside a lot of the time, and Con's out around 11. But I've gone for Kilkenny over Con O'Callaghan. Con O'Callaghan was exceptional against Dublin, or against Meath, sorry. He was class. What? And Con O'Callaghan may end up being unbelievable in the All-Ireland semi. Con O'Callaghan's not my team. No, he's not. I thought he was quiet. I thought he was quiet against Westmeath. I don't care. Absolutely sound against Laois.
He crushed. There are moments in games where you rip the heart from your opponent, and it was his catch for the goal, and it was the vision, and they're the goal is on, lads. We're going to do this now. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I may be wrong. I may be wrong, but I just feel like Kieran Kilkenny. I feel like Kieran Kilkenny's been more important.
There's not either or. They're both in your team. This is the best team in the country. Average winning margin of a million gazillion points. Go on, keep going.
Yeah.
Con has to be in the team. He's footballer of the year.
I don't know. I just thought he was very quiet against Westmeath and very quiet against Laois. And I've gone for Sean Vogler in my half-forward line as well. I think Sean Vogler has been an all-star form this year. And he scored a couple of goals, 2 goals for Dublin. And I think he's been one of those players that are setting the intensity for Dublin. Dublin, fair enough, they smashed Meath, but Meath were broken after that first goal. Con, obviously.
By Con O'Callaghan.
Key man in that.
Yeah.
He was the key man in it.
Yes.
But it was what Dublin did across the rest of the game.
Several other catches around midfield. Go on.
The likes of Vogler and John Small did far more than that. And my other half forward, I haven't gone from Garrod McKiernan from Cavan. I feel like I'm going to regret that. I haven't gone from Michael Quinlivan. I've said it already. I think he needs a massive semi-final against Mayo to back up that Munster final. I've gone from Michael Langan from Donegal. I think that it's not going to be just for provincial winners that are going to make up this team. I think that Donegal were in serious form. I think there's a number of reasons why they fell short against Cavan. Michael Langan wasn't one of them. Michael Langan was one of their main footballers all year. He's been absolutely exceptional. He's definitely been an all-star form. He's so important to that team. And I actually think Kieran Thompson missing in that half-forward line was one of the main reasons that Donegal didn't get the job done against Cavan. Langan, for me, is in there. It's probably harsh on McKiernan. It's probably harsh on maybe an Aidan O'Shea, who's not in my team, and maybe harsh on Con O'Callaghan. But I just think that Michael Langan has been an all-star form this year. And there's going to be one player outside the provincial winners, and it's going to be a Donegal man. If you look back at the All-Star team from the year 2000, the last time we had a knockout All-Star team, you had one player from Kildare who won the Leinster Championship that year, and they actually played 2 replays that year. They played a Leinster final replay, and it was an All-Ireland semi-final replay as well. But you had 2 players from Derry who lost the Ulster final to Armagh that year. So I feel like we're going to get one Donegal man there. Langan's my man.
Did Derry win the league in 2000? I bet you look back, there'll be some crap around. Oh, they were great in the league, and we need to give the league its due deference for that. Well, they used to smoke in the rooms, Tommy, back then. That's what the year 2000 was like.
Runners up. There's often provincial runners-up, and Langan deserves it. I'm telling you, I'm sticking with this one. My full forward line.
Can I just, sorry, hang on a second.
Dean Rock.
Hang on. Are you picking the team that you think the All-Stars selectors are going to pick at some point and trying to shoehorn rules in? Are you picking your team?
This is my All-Star team so far this year. Okay. 100%.
Okay. But you said, I think there'll be somebody from outside. What's that got to do with anything? Not in your team. You've decided there's going to be somebody from outside the provincial winners. That's your choice.
Michael Langan deserves to be there 100%. Dean Rock sneaks in ahead of Jordan Morris, just about. My full forward is... Who is my full forward? Oh, Conor Sweeney is my full forward. Conor Sweeney is in the mixed football of the year at the minute. Conor Sweeney. And the corner forward is Killian O'Connor, who's in exceptional form for Mayo, and Mayo need another forward in there because they've beaten Roscommon and they've beaten Galway. And that's 100% it. That's my team. So
give me your full back line quickly. Give me your goalkeeper full back line again quickly.
Ray Galligan in goals. Let me just get up here one last second. Ray Galligan in goals. Oisin Mullen Mayo, Pádraig Faulkner Cavan, Jimmy Feehan Tipperary, Paddy Durkin Mayo, John Small Dublin, Owen McLaughlin from Mayo, Brian Fenton and Thomas Galligan, Ciara Kilkenny, Michael Lang and Sean Vogler, Dean Rock, Conor Sweeney and Killian O'Connor. So look, what change would you make? Is Conor O'Callaghan the only change you're going to make to that team? If so, I'm happy enough.
Owen?
Sorry,
you tuned out 20 minutes ago. Did you? You're like...
No, I thought you were asking Jared there. Would you say, is Conor O'Callaghan the only change you'd make?
It sounds like it is. Jared was trying to put David Clifton on my team last night, so...
I'm surprised you haven't gone for any Meath man. I think you're right, but I'm surprised you haven't been swayed by your heart there to put any Meath man in there.
No, I wasn't. If they put up a performance against Dublin, which unfortunately they didn't, I'd say there would be a Meath man in there. They were exceptional for a half against Kildare. They were exceptional for 50 minutes against Wicklow, but we have to be honest, it's Wicklow and the Ulster Championship is is weighted far more than that. Like Donegal had big games against Tyrone, they had big games against Armagh, so. And Langan was brilliant for the first half as well. So that's why I've gone for a Donegal man over a Meath man on my team.
Can we stick the graphic back up for a minute?
Perfect.
So,
anyone else, Owen? Have you no other changes to your own? Like, is that? I don't know if I'm going to get away with it this lightly.
Dublin, don't worry.
I would have Conor O'Callaghan. I expected this to be like a Meath infested team. Be quite honest with you.
I'm not a troll. I'm not a troll, Owen. Like I'm not. I'm doing this by sheer analysis and by watching as many games of football as I can. Like I'm not going to just stick Tipperary into 13th one week, and then they go and win a Munster Championship final, and then put them into 7th, and then throw Meath back to 13th just in a win because they're beaten by the greatest team ever. I'm not that type of analyst when it comes to GA. I'm picking this team based on what I've seen over the last couple of weeks. I'm not a reactionary pundit, you may say.
They weren't beaten. They were destroyed, embarrassed. Humiliated.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say embarrassed.
It was.
I wouldn't say humiliated. I'd say that the Munster Championship was broken, as we saw yesterday.
No.
They were broken.
That's a separate piece. No, and it's true that Kildare would have been more than likely embarrassed and humiliated too. But look, Tom, you lured us all into this weird sense of there perhaps might be a game here. They've got all that speed. They've been working on scoring goals. Yeah, you're right. There's a credible case here.
You know what? The one mistake I made was not jumping on Navan or Nowhere a week earlier. Like I'm telling you, get them out of Croke Park. Like that's the only difference with this Dublin team, isn't it?
5 dubs.
I can't hear any other options, lads. Like I'd like to hear what you think. Like Oisin Langan has been to all the Cavan games this year, and he's saying Conor Madden. I couldn't pick Conor Madden off the back of 2 super sub appearances. Like it'd be an incredible story if Conor Madden made the All-Stars, but I think he needs a start, or again another All-Star appearance where he scores a goal to beat the Dubs in the last minute that I don't see happening. So, I don't know. Kieran Brady, I wanted to put him in for his nickname alone. He lives in the Holla in Cavan, and that's why he's called Holla Brady. A hollow, if you don't get my accent there, but Brady's been exceptional in terms of that Cavan defence. Jason McLaughlin man-marked Ryan McHugh last week, but I couldn't get 5 Cavan lads in there. I actually don't think they were good enough, like in terms of All-Star form to get in there. Like there's 4 Cavan lads, and I think they'll get 3 in the All-Star team. That's why McKiernan didn't make it either. So the 2 Galligans of Faulkner are my bankers for that Cavan team.
I think it's a really good team. I think that like the bolters in that Dublin team where the new faces, the likes of McDade and Vogler are both going to be in contention for All-Stars come the end of the year, and I think McDade could end up pushing out. It's hard to see. Who actually gets pushed out there. Maybe Jimmy Feehan if they get beaten in an All-Ireland semi-final, come the All-Stars at the end. But I think it's hard to look beyond them, and I think it is probably Small versus McDade. Maybe I'm not even sure who else you could throw into that conversation for that Dublin back, because those two have been so good. But I think Durkin has to be there. I think McLaughlin's been brilliant. I think Mullen's been brilliant, and Faulkner obviously has been a rock. So a lot of this is these unbelievable performances that you can't really look past. The midfield is very obvious. I would agree that Conor Callaghan maybe should be shoehorned in there. You can't go in ahead of Kieran Kilkenny. I think Kieran Kilkenny is maybe on course for his best ever Dublin season. I think Michael Langan's been amazing. I think if you talk about Peadar Mogan scoring goal of the season, I think Michael Langan's goal against Tyrone wasn't half bad either, and will be in with a shout for goal of the season as well. He has to be there. As I've mentioned, Vogler is brilliant. I think it's Vogler versus Conor Callaghan, because you can't look past Cillian O'Connor. You can't look past Sweeney. So it's Vogler, Rock, Conor Callaghan, and 3 into 2 won't go. So I think your logic is actually close to being spot on, to be honest. But it is hard to see a team there without Conor Callaghan at the moment.
Conor Callaghan has to be in the team. He has to be in the team. And here's the thing. Look,
I don't know,
I know we're picking them.
I didn't actually. Yeah.
I know we're picking them at this stage, but again, look, you know that Conor Callaghan is going to have big semi-final and big final, because.
But it's not. I'm not that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if Michael Quinlivan has a massive semi-final, he's in my team. If Conor Callaghan has a massive semi-final, he's in the All-Star team.
I just think,
if you want me to predict them,
the Westmeath game, they're running through the motions. It doesn't really matter that much. The Laois game, again, they're running through the motions. The Meath game, they were up for, and in the 5 minutes when it really mattered, Con turned it on and turned the screw, and that's the sign of a player who's capable of putting the team on his back if they need him to. They don't need him to, because he's not alone. He has Fenton and he has Kilkenny, and that trio, I think, are playing as good as any trio I've ever seen play. Like, we're talking about elite level of performance. I just can't wait to see them in a match where it actually is put up to them. And, you know...
I'd love to see it too. I'm not sure it's going to happen this year, though.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a 10-point semi-final victory and a 10-point final victory, and the conversation that we started yesterday on the show becomes an absolute din. And at that point, it's going to be very difficult to sort the wheat from the chaff in terms of good quality content.
Just to be clear, are you choosing Conor Callaghan in your team based on 5 minutes against Meath?
No, because I think he's been excellent. I think his standards haven't dropped. I think he's the best footballer in the country at the moment. I think if we're in the midst of a greatest footballers of all time debate that's been going back. It's been LeBron versus Jordan. The Irish version of that has been what's this superstar in Kerry? What's his capability going to be versus what's this superstar in Dublin going to be? And you would have to say that Con has taken a big lead over Clifford in that debate this year. And I think that he's in the All-Stars team, because, if you don't pick Conor Callaghan in the All-Star team, I don't
think he has, Ger. I actually don't think he has. I don't think you're I don't know. I don't think he's overtaken Clifford this year either, to be honest. I think if you look at that catch against Meath, can I just say one second? I'll let you jump in one second. I couldn't understand how on earth Conor. I can't get my head around it. Maybe I'm broken by Saturday night, but how on earth Cluxton was able to pick him out after that turnover in the middle of the field with number 14 on his back and not a Meath man near him. I couldn't understand it. It's not a new tactic. Intermediate and junior clubs around the country bring their number 14 out to midfield for kickdefs. How was there not somebody on him? It was I
don't know. Maybe
it was amateur stuff.
Maybe he's unmarkable.
That Conor Callaghan goal was amateur stuff, and he's definitely not unmarkable. And I saw for the second kick, he won 3 or 4 kickouts. I saw for 1 or 2 of them, he did a very simple push on a Meath defender and got a kick out. Then, he's class. He's a superstar. But it was amateur stuff for Meath in a lot of ways, and I actually think that psychologically they were broken very early on in that game, because I actually think their game plan just didn't click for them for whatever reason. You can see with Donegal at the weekend, sometimes things don't happen for a team. Donegal waited and waited and waited, but Cavan just ate them alive.
Go on.
Donegal still believed they were going to kick an equaliser later on, and Garrod McKiernan took a chance and launched that ball into the square. Feck it, maybe Conor Madden should be in my team. If you're putting Conor Callaghan in there, I'm probably putting Conor Madden in ahead of Conor Callaghan, to be honest with you. Conor Callaghan is not in my All-Star team at the minute.
I think you can't be making generalised statements on greatest players of all time when the team that one of them plays for is at an unbelievably higher level, plays in a province in which they're absolutely killing everybody. I just don't think. I think you're getting confused with the gap that's opened up between Dublin and the rest, rather than the gap that's opened up between say, Conor Callaghan and any other individual in the country. That's all I'm saying. He's a phenomenal player.
Who's enhanced the reputation more in this season, Owen?
Clifford for me, to be honest.
Conor Callaghan slightly. Like, I mean, like if you're talking about the entire season as a whole, including the club season, like I don't know. Like it's impossible to not enhance your. It's very, very tough to enhance your reputation if you're not playing for Dublin really in any given season. It's as simple as that. And
what we've just put like a bunch of Cavan lads in the All Stars team. We've just put a bunch of new Mayo people in the All Stars team. We've put a bunch of Tipperary players.
Every single season, Conor Callaghan's reputation is going to be enhanced. There is no question about that. He will be playing in an All-Ireland final for the vast majority of the years that he is playing. There is no other county who can say for sure that they will be playing in an All-Ireland finals for the vast majority of their career. So he will always be in the shop window. Of course, what you do in the shop window is what matters, and he's a phenomenal footballer. Outside of Brian Fenton and Stephen Cluxton and Jack McCaffrey, I think at worst he is their fourth most talented footballer. He probably even pushes into the top three if you go beyond that again. He's like on pure talent alone, he's probably ahead of Stephen Cluxton and is up there with McCaffrey and Fenton.
The team isn't chosen until February, Jersey. You have plenty of time to get Con in there.
Don't worry, he's going to be there. I know it, you know it, and you guys all know it. Tommy, this is the bit where 5 minutes ago you would have been shouting, "Get off!" I can't believe the absentee. Did you just give us the fingers? Did you just give us the fingers?
No, wait. Sorry, lads. No, I went like that.
Oh, right. Sorry,
lads.
8:45. Sorry, it was at 8:45 this morning. John Duggan is here. John.
Morning, lads.
Is Conor Callaghan in your All-Star team?
No.
He's not.
The All-Star team is generally a makeup of the finalists of a season, and it's completely incomplete at the moment. So what I went for is 6 Dublin, 4 Mayo, 3 Cavan, 2 Tipperary. But it's very likely that Conor Callaghan could have a starring performance against Cavan, a starring performance in the final, and then he's automatically, and then it's obvious as day and night that he's in the team. Like Michael Murphy, should he be in most All-Star teams? Should David Clifford be in most All-Star teams? It's just generally based on what you've seen, and we haven't really seen that much yet to make a team out of it. I went for a team of, could be completely wrong here, Raymond Galligan, Michael Fitzsimons, Padraig Falconer, Oisin Mullen, James McCarthy, John Small, Paddy Durkin, Brian Fenton, Matthew Ruane, Michael Quinlivan, Kieran Kilkenny, Garrett McKiernan, Killian O'Connor, Conor Sweeney and Dean Rock.
Not that far from you put James McCarthy in, and I think there's probably going to be a case for James McCarthy to come in as well in the 2 big games that they have to play. So, right, the debate has started.
Yeah, sure, this is what it's all about.
R.I.P. your mentions is all I'll say.
Yeah, this is what it's all about, and there's no science and there's no right answer, and everybody gets very impassioned. That is why we love the sport and love sporting debate.
You might say there's no right answer. I would contend that there is definitely a wrong answer.